Hey friends, this week's Trials of Osiris map is Widow's Court. In the past map guides, the comments have told me to try to post these earlier, like Friday, but I don't think that's realistic because I need practice time. Despite me having a lot of hours in this game, I need practice time in the current meta and try to give you advice based on what player trends I'm noticing. So I hope that makes these videos better. That being said, I'm compromising here, trying to get it out Saturday night, Sunday morning, so it's still not going to be complete, but it should be good enough and you should get some valuable takeaways here. We're going to start with the loadouts. A lot of you want to gravitate towards the scout, maybe even double primary, and I can make it work, but I don't think it's as optimal as just running a 120, because oftentimes you are probably going to be the stronger player in the lobby, which means you're going to have weaker teammates, and those teammates typically do this. Those teammates just pretty much hold this angle, and that's it. Even if you waste 2 magazines of your weapon throw abilities, even if you get a kill in the bottom left of the kill feed, and you start weakening the opponents and keeping them off that revive, your teammate doesn't care. They're going to keep holding this angle. So because of that, you're going to be fighting with a scout in hand cannon distance more often than not. So why not just throw on a hand cannon, especially one with Adagio, so you can 1v3 on your own. Now that being said, since you don't expect your teammates to help, you need to be playing really non-committal. I'm talking like put a single bullet in, leave. Or put a single bullet in, push up. Don't stay in one spot because you will get pincered. That's the start. So where are the zones? We have one zone right here. In Iron Banner, sometimes the zone is so big that they can realistically cap it, like right here. Not a problem in Trials. The next zone is right here. I want to note something about this zone is unless you are playing top tree Dawnblade, how are you supposed to stop people from standing on here? There's like no realistic way that they get angled out without you approaching shotgun distance, which is why I say the double primary doesn't work when there's equal skill players. Okay, and then the third zone is right there, next to the flower pot. So this one might be a lengthier video, but I'm going to try to go as fast as I can to talk about the dangerous angles. So let me pull out a scout and a sniper just to illustrate what you're looking for. So one of the spawns is down here. The other spawn is where I started the video. And the typical timing is they jump up, and if you hesitate, like if you're a second late and you hesitate, you can get sniped already on this jump because of the trucks back there. So that's the first sightline to pay attention to, is if you hesitate, you're going to die to a sniper that is on top of one of those trucks. So that's the first problem point. Then the next problem point is right here, where they're going to come out of that piece of cover. Sometimes 3 of them swing it. Sometimes 3 of them sit right here where I am with scout rifles. So if you're crossing that path, there is a chance that you instantly get deleted by 3 different Jade Rabbits. All in one hit, and it's over. Let's talk about flanking then. So we already cleared these 2 angles. What's your next move? Well, you could flank. And oftentimes when I have really, really passive teammates, I do choose to flank because it naturally times with their boredom. Eventually they get so bored, they're like, well, I might as well move up. And by the time they're moving up, I just finish the flank and we shoot. But that requires some level of coordination, which I just don't think is a winning game plan all the time. You have to be ultra perceptive of your teammates to be able to make those flanks work. I use grapple blink to get the fastest flank possible and still barely made the timings for my team. So whenever you do make this flank, you're probably going to see somebody posted up right here. You're going to see someone posted up right there, probably just recently taken fire from your teammates, and you might even see an opponent right there. So that's what you're looking for. You don't really have the luxury of time to lurk back here. Like, you will be off radar because it's a big enough map and whatnot, but as soon as you're seen here, they're just going to move up, and your teammates aren't going to have the knowledge or experience to pinch with you. So your flank's kind of dead. So instead of lurking back here for the odd opponent that is still in their spawn, I like to push up and just take their side of the map and use this power position. I would say there are 2 power positions on this map. This is number 1, and that is the other one. And what's really good about this spot is when power ammo shows up, which is right there, you can angle it out 3 different ways. You can stand on this, stand on this, or on the edge of candy stand, toll booth, whatever you want to call it, newspaper stand. So you can see the power ammo 3 different ways. Don't underestimate how far away they can grab that power ammo, though. Sometimes it is worth throwing a form of scorch, a smoke grenade, something on it. So then let's see what the other POV looks like. One thing I want to note when approaching this side is your crosshair placement. You want to aim lower, not higher, because if you aim higher, look at what your gun model does. It blocks the lower sightline. Right there. So oftentimes I'm doing like an information. I'll sometimes even pre-place a rift just to get that information. Whatever you got to do to figure it out. So you can kind of jiggle right here to get that info on the low read, and if you don't see it, you can kind of work the head glitch now. Flipping positions again. You don't have to just be on this railing. Sometimes you can use this piece of rubble to really, really inch out and assist your teammates fighting near that B flag zone. I'm kind of doing this a little out of order just so it's faster. So just stay with me here. Sometimes people jump up on the truck for the mainland war. Other times it's right here. And you do have this piece of cover if you want to play that hand cannon, make love to the wall style gameplay. But crossing to right there is really, really dangerous. Like, you will probably get deleted a couple times. And that's just something you have to accept about this map. If you're not running Weeblock, if you're not running Unbreakable Titan, Juggernaut, etc., you will just randomly get 3'd by the entire enemy team at the same time on one of those main lane challenges. I've showed you 2 of the main lanes. Let's go for the 3rd now. This is the 3rd. This angle right here, where you're hit by either of the crow's nest sides. And so if you want to cross to B, there is a chance you just get deleted. That is what you have to accept. So there's 2 paths. And if you have blink, it's a little safer, but it's still dangerous. You could just get sniped running across. Something you accept. Okay, so that's 1 pass. And then this is the other. Trying to use this piece of cover to block, keeping your eyes right here for somebody crosses. Then you make it to this broken building. And you can actually shoot through these grates. But since they nerfed the teabagging, you can't oscillate in a way to just keep it head level. So you can make it all the way in here, no problem. I like to just take the risk, though, and cross to here. Because this is a very powerful position for stopping Crow's Nest from just owning the map. So what you can do is you can peek your head just a little bit up so that way... Let me actually throw in a hand cannon here. So that way your eyes can be looking at the right side of the screen even though your crosshair is centered on Crow's Nest. And the second that you see somebody peek that right side, all you do is just walk forward. And that puts a lot of pressure on them. Because you probably hit like 60 damage or something like that on a headshot. You back that player off where they're now hyper aware. And because of the sound of the bullet, the opponents are like, oh, that's a guy on B. Let's go investigate that. And you might be able to just hit them once as well. And then you can start pushing up and taking the space with your preferable special weapon. That being said, though, you have to be perceptive of your teammates' ability and experience. And if my teammates are not good, I might hit one here, hit one here. I'm not pushing forward because all that's doing is inviting trading with the opponent. I will actually back up. I just want them to know that that can be a threat. So that way my next future challenges might have more success. So let's keep talking rollouts here. For at least these 2 zones. This zone and this zone play quite similar to me. Power ammo as well. So I spawn in. I see that the zone is either middle or to the left. My opening route is pretty similar every time. If I'm using blink, I'll talk about that later. I will just go up here. Keep in mind that I can walk to right here to have an angle on crossers. If they have a scout or a snipe, I will die, so I really want to just keep it to maybe this angle, this cross. And if it looks clear, if my radar is clear, because you can also put radar booster to get more info. I meant to slide there. Missed input. You can slide cover to cover, you can blink through, and you've made it on to B. Your next fight is going to be that broken building. Back them off. And then this is where the danger starts, because you don't know how many could be around this corner. Sometimes I peek this into the entire enemy team and get deleted. If you aim down sights for too long, you will get overwhelmed, and somebody will slide this with a fusion rifle or jump up there with a fusion rifle, and it's too late. So keep your head on a swivel. And like I said, perceptive of your teammates' experience and be ready to back up. It's okay. Give them the map. It's better to fight a bad 3v3 retake than to partially 1v3, get 2 kills, and then have them just reverse sweep your teammates anyway because your teammates are too slow at moving. So that's one way to take B, and you're still eventually going to work towards getting this zone too. So let's say I didn't see anything on my B approach. Well, now I can do one of two things. I can use the crouch button here to go off radar and try to time a good fight to the sound of scout rifles, right? So I crouch, I hear a scout rifle indicating that they're fighting someone else. Jiggle peek for info, and if it looks good, you commit. Can be the same thing down here. Keep in mind there's a lot of elevated angles to take. I don't like this angle because you don't know if they're right here on the stairs, on the heady, using the piece of cover on candy stand. I'll just show you what that POV looks like. See, this is really, really good. So that's why I think that's a disadvantageous angle that I'm not really willing to take. But my goal isn't to, like, do damage and stuff. It's to try to, like, soak up their abilities. Make them waste util in situations that isn't benefiting them. Just being here and being a red ping on the radar is doing something. So I don't want to get too curious here. I'm talking, like, maximum 1 jiggle peek. And if you do jiggle peek that, you don't peek it again. You change your elevation. You just want to be a persistent thorn in their side to get them to panic and waste utility so that when it comes to finally capturing the zone or finishing a kill or something, you have more kit than them. Past that, I don't like this open area of the pit because that God heady right over there, you will get deleted by multiple opponents. You can definitely hug this right here and even work it wider until you have a better idea of where people are positioned. And using this archway, you can just slide it in and play it like this to create pressure. Depends on the range of your weapon, though. 120 isn't going to be doing too good at this chow, but if somebody's on the rubble, which also, by the way, is really good for the opposite rollout. Let's go through that. Okay, so mid-zone, rollout. Crow's Nest is the most dangerous place that you need to be aware of. So this little piece of rubble is really, really good. I guess you can be hit by someone standing on B or somebody pushing this broken, but for the most part, you can team shot with your teammates if someone appears Crow's Nest. And if you have good enough damage, that's your opportunity to push up. But once again, be perceptive of your teammates because you can make it all the way to here. And it doesn't matter if they're 1 HP or full health, the threat is the same. You have to jump. You have to incur an AE penalty. Also, they're going to pre-aim their crosshair on you. You have a lot more work to do with your crosshair to get to them, to risk jumping up here where they can be in a variety of places. They can be wedged in the corner. They can be on the stair heady. They can be wedged here. They can be wedged here, even on a head glitch still. So you are at a disadvantage even though you have already done more team damage to them. So be extremely careful following this up. Which is why I think this is a challenging map. How do you teach that to people? to get the game sense of what is correct and what is overextending? The answer is you have to play a lot of Widow's Court. So I don't have a perfect answer for you. All I'm going to say is a lot of these players, their only goal is to trade out with the special weapon. And when they do, typically my teammates clean them up because the opponent doesn't have a special weapon anymore. And it kind of makes sense why Bungie removed Checkmate. These players turn into SpongeBob and Patrick fighting in the hallway the second that they're out of special weapons, or I'm going to say unbalanced abilities that are a little too potent. The second that they're out of them, I don't think they're hitting a shot with their primary. It is staggering, and it makes total sense why they reverted the checkmate changes, because that would probably have like a dead population from the get-go. People just want the junk food jousting, man. That's at least the way that they play. That's what that tells to me. But rant aside, let's get back to this guide. I think that really covers these two zones. You're really going to approach them together. Note, I did get ripped off people jumping right here to have a full vantage point. But keep in mind, you are fully exposed to every angle on the map if you jump up here. It's risky. However, if you know fights are going on, this will give you unique angles, like to hit people behind this red box, whereas on Crow, you just don't have that angle. They can just crouch behind that box. So if you anticipate that at the right time, you can jump up here and wipe an entire enemy team. A lot of times, either of these zones play the exact same way. Enemy team turtles in here in Crow's Nest with special weapons, and you just have to wait for the zone. And because people complained about the objective game mode, you have to wait even longer and hope that you or your teammates do not die to boredom, because I am very guilty of that myself, especially since I treat this as a casual playlist because it is random matchmaking and not skill-based. So could you really blame me for treating it casual and trying to have some very energetic plays? I don't know. Okay, let's talk about the flower pot zone, since that one changes up how things go. In a traditional sense, I think this is the strongest place to hold on the map if there's not an objective. It's high ground. There's a lot of elevated angles to take where you subtly change where their crosshair is going to have to be placed, whereas their angles of approach are kind of limited by comparison. Let's throw on the Jade Rabbit. I'll explain. So if somebody is at church door, that's probably the first place to hit. They slide, second place to hit. And they're back down. Next is they approach from the trench. That's pretty much where you're aiming, right? So you can hold it here. Same angle, different elevation. Same angle, different elevation. Same angle, different elevation. And you choose this based on your weapon range. If you're on a 120, obviously you want to be the closest of these angles. Or the odd jump up here, which is risky, just for a single shot and you're done. But if you have a scout, sometimes it's worth on your opening route to choose one of these higher elevated angles, especially a sniper rifle. Okay, so continuing the rollout from this side. Typically, a teammate pauses right here, and that's pretty much all they're going to do. Sometimes they wedge themselves in this corner and don't even think of shooting the opponent. So this also opens up the flank opportunity, which I don't think is crazy when the zone is flower pot. But let's still continue this. You can be shot from a variety of places right here, but this cover is your best friend right here. It's going to cost them a lot of grenades, so try to think from their perspective, when's the best time to throw a grenade, and already be ahead of the slide to get out so you catch them in that animation. Get rid of stuff really early. But you can do one mix-up where one round you approach low, messed up the jump there, art team, random ass ceiling, but then you can go high, just keep changing it up. You can also, with Hunter, use like triple jump or something like that to go around right here to be safe. I've caught so many teams by just being really, really fast at my rollout. So I'll explain. Approaching, zone is flower pot. My eyes are on the right side of the screen and my radar. I make it here. By the time I approach here, they're already half health, wedged in the corner. And even a 120 will clean that up. And oftentimes, that's all you need to finish the enemy team. Yes, you are overextending. And keep in mind that if your teammates are in this position, there is no way that they can help you if the opponents decide to fly at you or turtle this angle while you're running away. And so then that's going to push you right here, and you are going to get angled out by someone else. It is unrealistic that if an opponent stands right there, that you make it back to cover. So you pretty much just have to use an ability or win a duel that you're probably going to get flown at by a special weapon right there anyway. So be very, very careful overextending, but the risk reward is pretty good if you get away with it. Let's talk about the flank. Because the flank is powerful on this zone, expect them to also maybe attempt to flank or to just try to counter yours. So you can take a very direct path, but keep in mind the sooner you flash the radar, the more likelihood that they are to pre-aim you if you're trying to like jump up to Crow's Nest or something. So sometimes it is worth it to take the longer route, the safer route, which becomes a lot better if you have Icarus Dash, Grapple or Blink, or Grapple Blink. Right, so sometimes immediately off the rip, I'm running over here because my goal is to safely get some vision, right? You jump up to here, you can get some vision. Like sometimes you'll see a health bar or see bullet tracers or something, and that gives you some info. If you want to stay hidden because you don't think your team is doing anything, you don't hear any gunfire exchange, you just want to take the safe hidden route and eventually pop up on Crow's Nest. And you can kind of cut the pie, clear these angles first, as you eventually just jump up right here. And this will probably be where the flank succeeds. From this side, you got to think about this in reverse. How do you prevent somebody from doing that? Alright, let's talk about normal rollouts from this side. As usual, you have to be aware of the instant snipe, so commit to your angle instantly. A fun fact here, you can put your bullet to the your gun to the sky, and sometimes your arms will block your head from sniper fire. It's a little different from Halo, where they would look down. You can even see my shadow doesn't really do it. But you hide your head. So I just take a very direct path. Keep in mind that this is going to be a danger angle right here where you could just get sniped by somebody really fast to a candy stand. So for that reason, I like to change my elevation or use blink or something. Make it to here. If I don't see red within a second, I'm thinking about moving to put some pressure and take this broken building, the apartments. And I can do a lot of work just playing this and not really committing to anything. This is the name of the game. It's, again, be perceptive of your teammates' experience. I'm tired of people blaming their teammates when you ask for random matchmaking. Sometimes the opponents will sit really far back for whatever reason, and you have to be aware of that. I've actually had a death this week where I'm playing so patient. I'm talking 45 seconds go by. I play it so disciplined. I jiggle peek for a single bullet, and then my teammate slides me out of cover like this, and I get 3'd by a Jade Rabbit on Candy Stand. So, it's like you finally wanted the teammates' help, and they let you down in a way you couldn't comprehend. This zone, though, you can own it after a little bit by just putting the pressure. So let's get back on topic here. Put the pressure, back them down, they camp, whatever, let them camp, because eventually they have to deal with the zone. If your teammates are scouts, it's your job to stand on the zone. And you don't want to just be there to be a grenade magnet. You sit on the zone to force movement. So it's going to be in a pattern. You step on the zone for like 2 or 3 seconds, and you know that that creates an alarm bell for the opponent, and they want to move forward. So now you step off the zone. They're probably sprinting towards the zone. You pop them once or twice, and then you start rotating back to the zone. And you just keep repeating that until somebody finds a pick. And eventually this zone's going to be lit up to like 50% or more, and that's when you hug this wall. Because you don't want to be angled out. You don't want them to jump up top. You don't want them to peek right here. Even though you have teammates, like, you can't trust them to hit a shot, right? So you're standing on the zone. They might even have a flank, right? So you have to be aware of that too. You need to get to this wall and just sit. Because what this wall does is it forces special ammo situations so that they have to have a special ammo out to deal with you, but they open up themselves to teammates, scouts. And that's if the teammates play discipline and hit shots. It's not going to go like that always. Sometimes you're going to lose, even though you do literally everything correct. Next zone, for countering the Crow's Nest flank, if you know that apartments are clear, you can definitely rip somebody from this rubble. Next thing I want to talk about is flanks in general. On this map, you see that there's a giant elevation change. If you're flanking where you think the opponents are going to have an elevation advantage like Crow's Nest, your flank sucks. Because in order to hit them or follow up damage, you have to have a way to jump really, really high. Like, remember when I said about B flag really early in the video? If you flanked her right here with the intent of keeping them off B zone, what are you doing? It's not going to accomplish anything. Even if you make it all the way into Crow's Nest, that just takes forever. You're still going to be in a bad position. So I would say as a team, it's better to take an immediate, slightly disadvantageous fight than to take 40 seconds to reset up and give them all the time in the world to get the zone. Because they will just take it right in front of you. It happens so much. So this brings us to Top Dawn. This is now the exception. I guess I could throw on Eye of Another World. I like it for the AE bonus. With Jade Rabbit, I get to 99 aerial effectiveness and is really the only weapon that I can recommend on a controller. On mouse and keyboard, dog, use whatever. You're going to be fine. So let's talk Dawnblade. I don't think you ever start the match immediate float, immediate timing. You want to wait a couple seconds. You want them to roll out. You want to catch them and sprint. What you don't want them doing is jiggling a piece of cover, notice you on the first jiggle, and then delete you the next time you go to this same angle, because they'll pre-aim it next time. You want to change it up. And also, you don't want to commit to the grenade usage until you absolutely have to, like on a flank. So let's talk these rollouts. What you should not be doing is jumping up here and floating at them. You will get deleted. They have, even if you kill one of them, you will get deleted and your teammates will not be good enough to get your res back and start another 3v3. They're not. So what I like to do is wait a second, float out, look for a shot, Icarus dash in. Just that first movement is going to create a pattern for them where they're like respecting the sky and aiming up. And then you might be able to just play the heady normally. And if it's not looking like your teammates can get anything started, you can go on a flank. You can go on a late flank too. It doesn't have to be at the very, very start of the rollout. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the only class in the game that can see into B flag. Look at this. That is why this is the dominant class for this map. Is because let's say that flag is 50% capped. That could be a kill. That could be getting them weak. It's making it the easiest job for your teammates to do something and complete that retake. So if you have Dawnblade, flanks are A-okay. Even Hunter and Astrocyte blink, they're fast, but how are they going to stop B? They don't have the elevation to do so. There's not angles on this map that can do so. The only thing you could really do is maybe bank a Glacier or that new Hunter helmet and try to like sit with a crystal or something like high up, but because you're going to be stuck in one static location, I think that would probably be the best crystal spot. Because you're going to be stuck in one static location, they're just going to see you, hug cover, and then duel you since you can only be in one place. Whereas Dawnblade can go back to cover and then pop out at a different angle. Like, for example, always change your elevation. It's hard to do on controller. Start the first couple shots up high, drop down low, then go all the way back in, go up high again. You got time, baby. Maybe odd crow's nest. Just keep changing it up and changing it up. You don't even have to do the same angle in a row. You can go all the way back to spawn and do the same one if you want to. Always be changing it up. And if I had one crucial piece of advice for a Dawnblade, it's don't be a hero. You do not have to 1v3 the enemy team from the sky every single round. What you want to do is sort of shadow your teammates. Like, yes, you can do your normal map control stuff, but as you retreat, you learned a lot of lessons there. What you want to do is shadow your teammate. If your teammate is about to commit to peeking an angle, peek it at the exact same time, just elevate it above them, and you might delete somebody. That's my advice, is that can be the easiest opening pick, and then you can win by attrition. Whenever you're in a 3v2 or a 3v1, a very experienced player will not just throw random utility into the enemy team. Oh, by the way, this setup's pretty good. You throw the fusion and the celestial fire at somebody, and they'll chain ignite because of char. It's really good for dealing with wells, and you can also supply your own well of radiance. Okay, let's load this back up. I will show you blink now. I'm guessing this video is going to be long form. I apologize. If you want it early, it's going to be disorganized like this. But I repeat some things 20 times in the video because I really got to make it clear. It's got to stick with you. Otherwise, you will not improve. Yeah, this has been one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant, subclass in Destiny history. Since Season 1, it has always been a threat. And on Widow's Court especially, you don't even need the scout rifle. That's the other thing. You don't need the scout rifle. There's a lot of 120 angles that are just as good. Okay, blink time. Did I save this correctly? I want to make sure I save my build because I recently switched it to Claw. Okay, now I can put on my blink loadout. So my blink loadout's pretty cool. I'll go over this in less than 20 seconds. Cessation, if I blink, it makes them volatile. If I pick up the volatile kill, it makes a void breach. Pick up the void breach, that's Devour, which means I'm proccing Devour from a neutral state. I get enhanced radar for crouching, and I get an overshield for winning my duel while critically wounded, which happens when you play good players. It's a solid neutral build, and I definitely put in a lot of work with it. So let's talk blink now. Blink timings, you will be the first to a lot of places, even considering Icarus Dash. So it's like blink, you can still get sniped here, but you are so fast to get here. Get on this spot, same thing, eyes to the right, put your damage. You can be aggressive, but if you know your team isn't like that, well then it's time to use our blink. Use blink to cut space and go between cover. Let's go to the other side for the rollouts. Grapple blink is pretty cool too, but like I said, even if you have the timing, that doesn't mean your teammates can follow it up. So I do a blink here. I'll wait until I hear the blink recharge sound, which you just heard. Then I blink here. Wait a second to back up. And look at that. B flag with no danger. Clear my angle, and then you be disciplined. If you peek this, you will die to 3 scout rifles, and if you stay here too long, you will die to a fusion rifle. Be disciplined. Look at that radar, which now brings up invis. This map is so big that you don't necessarily need invis to commit to a flank. What you use invis for is creating a 50-50 on which of the two sides you're going to appear, and then the timing of when you're going to do it. That's all it is. Do not use invis for flanks here. It's not necessary, which opens up other classes. Let's look at Trials Report right now. All right, I recently got passed up. I was #1 on the leaderboards when I retired. Because the challenge this week is to get boondoggle kills. I'll show you that video later. I had like #1 for a good hour or two, and then Winter just went in. It's just a fun little challenge. You get a challenger badge. I'm not actually going to finish this. I fully expect like all of these players to surpass me and knock me off the top 10. I just saw Boondoggle in the comment section always wants me to try it, so I thought it was a good opportunity to make a video. Anyway, on Hunter, I tried a variety of different things to make this work. I tried Invis, I tried Knucklehead Radar with a Withering Gaze Scout. It was okay, but I ran into a problem of not owning a special weapon. Sniper's good, but if you get a snipe and your teammates can't stop the revive or move forward, snipe is useless. And then SMG in a world of slug shotguns and fusions, yeah, right, you're gonna lose that. So what I ended up doing is I finally landed on Moth Keepers, and what's cool about these is they blind the opponent. I guess I'll be talking about this in the Boondoggle video, but you get the preview here. They blind the opponent, and if you clean up the blind opponent, you get Stylus Executioner, which really helps for wiping an enemy team by yourself. And then Facet of Solitude, get wall hacks for just shooting the opponent with my submachine gun. 2 ways to get invis. The map is big enough that I don't need invis to go on flanks, and because of the way that moths work, I can lob them behind the opponents, like over the tops of buildings. That way they have to look up to shoot the moths, and I try to time my flanks around when the moths should be hitting or when the opponent has to look at the moths. And that usually enables me to get something started, and that something started turns into wall hacks, which then I can finish off the enemy team. This isn't optimal at all, by the way. It's just fun that the map is large enough that I don't feel tied to only running invis. And it's not that I think invis is problematic. It is. It's that the radar is more problematic, and this is one of the only answers to it. I hope in the future that they change the radar to be a bit more dynamic, less range to allow flanking. And then they also tone down the invisibility of invis and make it more visible, opaque, etc. Like a haze to it, a TV static to it when you like sprint or have a special weapon in your hands or something, right? That makes sense. That's what should happen. Rant aside, I hope you learned something on Widow's Court. Let me know in the comment section any more tips you have on this map. Let me know if I should even keep doing these. I don't see a lot of these on YouTube anymore. Take care, friends. I will see you in the next one.